Welcome back. You're watching the CNBC TV 18 special. We're getting you an insight into Microsoft's new chapter under Anant Maheshwari. You know, two specific issues that I think the world is grappling with. One, of course, is this rising threat of protectionism and what it then means for emerging markets like India, what it means for the way that we do business within the software services industry in India, the threat of higher H-1B visa fee and so on and so forth. How are you at Microsoft addressing some of those concerns that we're likely to face?
So number one, I think it'll be presumptuous to say one can predict all of these changes. The best way to do this is to be prepared with the most flexible model in the world. And to that, I'll again take the example of data centers. I think there are a few players in the world who may call it hyperscale, but Microsoft's clearly the largest footprint globally in terms of geographies of the hyperscale cloud, which is with a simple logic that each country will have its own, or each region will have its own preferences, priorities as to how they think about many of these concerns, and we need to play with those laws of the land locally in each of those geographies. And that, I think, has been the infrastructure investment that Satya and the Microsoft leadership team have done over the last few years to just be prepared with a lot of these changes.
And the other is, you know, just this business of the free movement of people. And I mean, this is a big deal specifically for the services industry, specifically for the IT industry. How do you see that impacting the innovative quotient, or the innovation quotient, if I could call it that?
So again, I would say we'll have to innovate in our thinking around this. Today, with the Skype video, for example, today, I do a lot of work in person with people around the world, in Microsoft, in our partner ecosystem, with our customers, without leaving the office. Why can't we think, as we think about augmented reality in future, which is not too much in future, it may happen, it's already happening. Some people have already done it, some are moving forward to do it, and maybe in this calendar year. You asked me in the beginning about the calendar year, so it's happening today. With augmented reality, a lot of paradigms of work will change. A lot of paradigms of collaboration will change.
Glad that you talked about collaboration, because I think that's the other trend that we're seeing, not just in India but globally as well, with these big global corporations collaborating, the IBMs and the Apples of the world, you know, GE, Microsoft, Salesforce, erstwhile competitors now sort of joining hands and teaming up. What does that mean, you know, for you here in India as well?
So first, I have to give credit. I came here just a few months back, but I think Satya and the leadership team have done a phenomenal job in completely changing that paradigm, where Microsoft has really partnered with every part of the ecosystem that you may see in the different industries that we operate in. Specifically in India, I think we have taken that global paradigm completely into India, but I think we've also had the benefit of having the Indian IT majors already in a very, very different play in India, and they've been global partners for us. So I would say there's just so much collaboration that we're doing with these big IT services companies also in creating new solutions for the world coming out of India.
Microsoft is still awaiting regulatory clearances as far as the LinkedIn acquisition is concerned, but that will be a big play specifically here in India, given India's importance in the LinkedIn portfolio. So how do you see that playing out in the future?
Good news there, it's done.
It's done?
I think we announced the global closure of the partnership there. We're all very excited with this new wave that will now happen, with these two very interesting business models coming together. I think that again was a visionary acquisition that has happened. I would say everything that the two sides have said so far is just so encouraging about completely new use cases that are going to appear. We've begun work with some of our partner teams across the board, and I think 2017 will be the year where we'll have, I guess, a lot more to say as to how the two teams will come together and what new innovation will happen.
Any more India-based investments? I mean, we're seeing this trend of a lot of people investing money in startups in India. You've, of course, been nurturing that ecosystem through Microsoft and the accelerator program and so on and so forth. But anything interesting that we could expect in the year ahead?
So you mentioned the accelerator. I would just like to reiterate that point first. I think it's been a tremendously successful initiative for us in India. Going forward, I think in terms of the other areas areas that we may potentially look at, we're continuously looking in terms of what we can do differently in different spaces that we operate in. And it's not just about thinking about equity as a model.
Yeah.
I think it's about many different forms of investment. Our data centers was a classical example. The Cybersecurity Engagement Center is a big example of what we've done in terms of investments in the country, because the country needs it. And we'll continue to do that as we go along. There are a lot of initiatives in play already.
So what can we expect then in terms of investments, in terms of hiring more in India, in terms of new initiatives in 2017?
So those are, I think, acceleration of either whether it's investments or hiring. I think that I would not say is game-changing in the way you might be asking me the question. When it comes to the specific growth initiatives that we're driving, you'll see us do a lot more on the cloud in India, because I think we are also seeing that traction in the different parts of the ecosystem. I think initially over the last year or so there were a lot of pilots. People were experimenting it. I'll give you an example of a CEO that I just met a few months back. And he was saying 15 months back, sitting with his leadership team, he was making a 3 to 5 year business plan of what they might do. 12 months down the line, they've already done a lot of the stuff that they planned 3 to 5 years out. I think that's the pace that is changing across the different parts of the ecosystem, and we are happy to support that change. So I would say 2017 is still a long period. In this industry. It is really 3 to 6 months that one should think about.
So you've stopped drawing up 5-year plans.
Oh yeah, in my previous sort of genre and the company that I was in, we had to think long term given the industries that we're operating in. Here I think the long term is important, but how you continue to perform in the short to medium term completely changes the landscape also. So innovation is much faster in this landscape.
So let me end by asking you, over the next 12 months, what do you believe could be the big game changer, and what are you most concerned about?
I think the cloud is the big game changer in the next 12 months, because a lot of companies will change their perspectives and how deep they go in. Inside our company,
which could mean a further reduction in prices?
If you say prices, it's about the volume or the compute capacity that you use versus the unit price that you may pay, and that's a continuously changing equation. So how it sits on the P&L of a company will vary depending on how fast they scale up their compute capacity and what they start doing with it. Because if it's adding new business, then you stop thinking about what you're doing. It just becomes a cost of business. As far as you asked me the earlier question about what will change inside Microsoft, I think overall, we've been a company that's been performing and transforming for the longest time. Increasingly, we have a very, very strong culture of learning continuously together as a team. Given what Microsoft has in India, we are uniquely positioned to make digital in India, given the fact that we have our development centers, our research centers, our back offices, our customer support centers. A lot of those capabilities exist in India, along with the India business itself. We are uniquely positioned, I guess, to make digital in India. And that, to me, if you really combine the Make in India and Digital India, is kind of unique for what Microsoft can do here.
So the number one challenge or concern?
Keep solving all the customer issues that are getting thrown at us. On my way here for this discussion, I was on multiple calls to again figure out new problems that customers are encountering as they go down this journey, and we have to continuously innovate with them. To me, bringing our best game to town to do that with all our customers is clearly going to be challenging.
So what comes to mind when I say Amazon Web Services?
It is definitely a credible player in the market, and they've done some interesting stuff. As I think about that vis-a-vis Microsoft, I think we are uniquely positioned given the fact that we do not just infrastructure, but we also do platform as a service and software as a service, combined with the ability to do not just public cloud, but also private cloud and hybrid cloud. You start looking at the options that we can offer to our customer base. Maybe that's too many at times for our customers to begin with, but at the end of the day, they also recognize this is a game that they can stay with as they evolve. So that's the way I think about it. about it.
Well, Anant, we wish you the very best of luck. Thanks very much for speaking to us on CNBC TV 18, and we hope to check in with you over the next few months as you pick up steam here in your new avatar at Microsoft India. Thanks very much for your time.
Look forward to Shireen. Thank you so much.
With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.